All right. Get this switched over. New music and everything. Oh, I'm not even capturing us. Whoops. That's a problem. Boom. There we are. I guess I should get my cam on, huh? Wow, I'm so prepared for this, guys. Hello. Welcome to a Board Boosters discussion for, you guessed it, the Ignition Factor, which is our boost game for December. Hello. Hi, I am Latalis. I am the host today. I am a Board Booster, as you might have guessed. I'm joined by TM over here, and TM is the world record holder. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm TM. Been running this game since like 2017. There were no runs when I started, so it's been a collaborative effort between me and a couple other runners. We'll talk about them later, what they contributed and everything. But yeah, been speedrunning for a while, mostly SNES games.
Fantastic. Yeah, like I said, I took a look at your speedrunning lists of all the things you've run. You have run like an awful lot of things. Yeah. If you guys like speedrunners, check out TN. They do a lot of speedruns, not just this game. Surprise, right? As for myself, hi. I am on the review committee for games for Board Boosters. I was part of the selection process for this game. And yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. 28% of you guys should know who I am, probably. Yeah, and this is Board Boosters. Board Boosters is a community of gamers, is how I'm going to say that. So if anyone's showing up here that doesn't know what Board Boosters is about, we boost games that have smaller boards or inactive boards. So here we are. So yeah.
Just gonna interject and say I'm super thankful that you guys picked my little game, my little Ignition Factor on the Super Nintendo. It's a very fun game, and I hope I'll be able to we'll be able to demonstrate that today.
Yeah, for sure. I forget who exactly suggested the game, but in the Discord, there is a channel for suggesting games, and this was one of 2 games that were suggested by the spin winner. One second, let me pull that up for myself real quick. Where is it? I'm silly? Never mind, I can't find it. Anyway. Expert commentary. Yeah. Chill Dragon, thank you, Board Boosters. Yes, Board Boosters in with the save. Chill Dragon suggested this game. And yeah, I'm enjoying it a lot. I hope people who have started playing the game have been enjoying it a lot. I hope those of you who haven't started playing it do after this discussion. By the way, chat, if you guys have any questions at all throughout this process, ask them in chat. We will try to get to them systematically as we go through the run. We are going to show the world record run here today with TM, who did the run, to help provide some commentary. So, can I ask you some questions, TM, before we start? Just some background.
Of course.
All right. So I got a couple for you. With this run, there is a lot of ways to make the run consistent, but then there's other strats that we've kind of come to discover that sacrifice that consistency for speed gain, right? And there might be a bit of a trade-off there. What is your preference? Do you prefer your runs to be super risky and fast, or do you prefer your runs to be super consistent if not the fastest, right?
I guess so far I've opted for a bit more consistent strats. Pardon me. There are a lot of moments in the run where you can just do a really tricky jump over 4 tiles of fire. We'll see that maybe later. But that's a really hard jump to nail. If you want to do it consistently over a run, over the course of the run, then you're going to be taking a lot of risk for very little reward, versus like if you just take a bit of time, put out 1 tile of fire and then jump. So you'll see me, I guess, use a bit more like consistent strats some are hard, and uh, some people might not consider them consistent, but it took a lot of practice to get some of them like some of the more difficult ones down. But I do find them consistent. Yeah.
Nice, nice. Yeah, this game definitely has a high skill ceiling. And consistent doesn't necessarily mean easy, right? It just means consistent. Um, and there can be some hard, consistent things. So yeah, cool. Thank you for that answer. I was personally curious because I also really favor consistency. It's
Mhm.
pretty cool. Another question I had for you was, where does your username come from?
Uh, it's actually a pretty long story, but to make it short, it's a friend of mine who, back when we used to do Smash Brothers tournaments, picked the name for me. He said my real name is Max, so he called me Tournament Max because I played better in tournament, according to him. So
Nice.
the TM was always the abbreviation, but then I changed up what TM stood for a couple times just for fun.
And
But
then yeah,
that's where
acronym
it
you can
comes
change
from.
it. Nice. I was curious because I did a little research, right? Like I said, I checked out your speedrunning history. I also checked your Twitch page, by the way. Follow TM on Twitch. Your about you section says Thunder Mustache, and I'm just like, what is the deal with that?
Yeah, that was one of the names that I came up with. But
Nice.
it's yeah, I switch it up every now and then. No real reason.
The man of many faces, right? And then another question I had was, what are your thoughts on board boosters as like a concept, a speedrunning community that speedruns either lesser known games or games that aren't as active? What are your
I
thoughts
love
on
it.
that?
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan. First of all, the community's super chill. They they seem genuinely interested in the project and the games that they pick. Just a good energy in the Discord. I really like it, and just the concept of it. Also love it. I mean, there's so many games that people are sleeping on. People should probably try and look a little further than what's popular, and you can find a lot of gems like this.
Absolutely, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, nice. Yeah, we are pretty chill. Do you hear that, chat? We're chill. We have the vibes. All right, those were it for my questions. Chat, if you have any questions at some point, again, you can interject. I am going to pull up the world record run now, and we're gonna kind of discuss it. I already pitched to you, of course, TM, that we're gonna go through it level by level. Kind of, I want to know what sort of developed, who discovered what kind of thing. Give me the history, right?
oh yeah.
All right, let's get screen. You should be able to watch this in the Discord, by the way. You won't need to watch the restream for this because I'm actually just gonna share it right here.
That's convenience. Thank you.
Oop. No, wait, I've shared the wrong screen. We have Streamception. 1 second. Wrong one. Screens. Where'd it go? There it is. Okay. Boom. There it is. I found it. Fixed. Problem solved. Alright, let's get this full screened here. And I believe this it's quite loud
It's a
actually.
reset.
Yeah, that's a reset. Chat, let me know if it's a little loud, by the way. I can adjust things on the fly. I should probably mute the ambient music I have going right now. Alright, anything you want to just like off the bat talk about Pygmalion while we're
Yeah,
watching this?
well, the most obvious thing that you'll be seeing a lot in the game is running. So I know it's a topic of controversy among new runners picking up this game. So how you run in this game is by double tapping a direction on the D-pad. And the input detection, I guess, for that double tap is a bit different from what you might be used to if you've
Oh,
played Mega Man X games or something like that. So yeah, the dashing is a little tricky.
I fixed it,
Um,
chat. I fixed it.
and then I guess the most obvious thing also is how you progress through the speed run is basically just rescuing people. You run around and try and get these people as fast as possible. There's a text box that usually appears. We are skipping that text box by hitting the X button, but the X button also is supposed to kick. So by running into every one of your rescues and pressing that X button, you avoid kicking because you can't kick while you run, and you skip the text box. So you might not see it as like being input intensive, but between having to double tap all your dashes, and you got to change directions very often, and every time you rescue, you're pressing a button. Uh, well, it gets pretty input intensive and action packed, and like that small level. Um, it,
Yeah.
it, it sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, yeah, yeah. Movement in this game is very. I wouldn't say it's bad. Like it isn't bad at all. It's very tight, very strict, in how you
Mhm.
need to move around. Um, Double tapping to run, and like canceling run by needing to like switch directions, knowing when to jump, to crossfire, that kind of thing. This Pygmalion, very clean, must say. Do you have anything to say about like the routing of this, like the
Yeah,
people we save along the way? Because there's
yeah.
there's more people in these stages than actually need to be rescued, right?
There are two more people that you could rescue if you watch Best Anyone. It's an example getting those two people, but yeah, they're a bit more out of the way. Just the the point of routing the game, I guess, is to figure out which which people are worth rescuing.
Worth the rescue. What is the worth of a person?
Uh-huh.
The amount of time
Exactly.
saved.
It's a yeah, it's a test of morality speedrunning this game. Um, it's uh, the routing for this run, for this level, I think felt pretty simple. We didn't really go over many revisions. That last rescue I just did, the way that I spray the lady and then start my dash downwards, that is extremely tight. It's probably the hardest thing in the run, just by the way. The way I did that, but you don't need to do it like that. It's just very small optimization.
Mall optimizations.
It's the reason why I should talk about that. There's two levels at the beginning you could choose between, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I choose to pick Pygmalion because of that rescue that I was talking about, because it's so hard to execute and I try hard every time I really want to
You're
get it in
such
the
a
run.
try hard.
I am. Yeah, it's
we
a bit of
we
a
know,
problem.
we know. So it's just it's that difficult that like if you miss it, you'd rather be at the start of the run so you can just reset.
Exactly.
Wow, yeah,
Yeah, it's that
pretty
bad.
intense. The other people you don't save on this are the first aid kit lady and the old man who's scared of the hot water, right? Uh,
Yes, yes. Yeah, sorry, I didn't even really talk about what it entailed to get them. But yeah, because you need to uh, get the lady on the first floor and then get the guy behind the hot water on the second floor, like in that order, because there was that this restriction, it's not faster. It's also slower because it takes time to cool the water and everything.
and receiving an
But yeah,
item takes time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the lady in the back room also yeah, you're right, gives you an item that also stuff that we're trying to avoid. You won't see a lot of menuing in this any percent run.
Yeah.
We're trying to avoid that a lot.
Something I want us to touch on is what you do here. What was that?
Oh, of course, yes. Thanks for pointing it out. Yeah, that's a very useful thing that we can do in a couple levels. We call it pit warping. It's just basically if you have 24 HP and it's faster for you to uh, take a a pit warp. You just fall into a hole, and it brings you back to the entrance that you came from,
Hmm.
in on that particular
Yeah,
floor.
specifically on the floor that you fell in the pit on, which is funny because you think falling down a pit takes you to the next floor down, but no, you just teleport as you
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
Yeah,
Would be convenient if it did
right. Guy, could
throw
you
you down a floor.
imagine? Oh, geez, like falling down pits in like the Shylock Center. Like what a world. Um, next map is
Well,
one that we have
yeah,
a little bit of new stuff to discuss on, right?
yeah. Unfortunately, we won't be seeing the new rendition of this level.
Hmm. We
It's
can we can talk about it. Well, let's watch it through and then go be like, okay, so what would be different, right?
exactly.
Um, this one has a something funky with stairs. We want to talk about
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. So if you walk downstairs, it's extremely slow. So we started jumping down the stairs. Um, it saves a lot of time over the course of the run since there's probably a dozen staircases that you can do that on. Um, and yeah, it's just one of the few tricks that we have in the run, so we
Yeah,
cherish the stair jumps.
it takes a bajillion years to walk up or down a stairs, or you could just jump it in a single jump.
Yeah,
Why walk
yeah,
when
it's
you have legs?
it's almost twice as slow as regular walking when you walk up the
Yeah,
stairs.
it's
As you
just
can see there,
it looks
it was
so painfully slow. Um, you want to talk about the rescue
so
routing here?
yes. In this case, we are going back up the catwalk, and it it feels like it feels slow because you kind of go all the way around the level doing that. And shout outs to David TKI who pointed out that it looked a lot slower to do that than to bomb the wall that
Hmm.
we're not going to see unfortunately this time, but
Yeah,
there's a wall just below.
I'll run it back and
Uh,
like pause in certain areas. We can discuss certain
mhm.
geography here. Yeah, this is the run. You save a couple dudes on the catwalk. The new route ignores one of them, right? The one over the lava pit.
Yes, because we don't go in the middle of the catwalk anymore. We just cut through the middle of the bottom floor
Yeah,
of the yeah.
there is a dude in this room right here. Uh, yeah, pause.
Yeah.
And there's a dude like over here somewhere that you can
Mhm.
get through that door. Um, I
So the reason we didn't do that back then is because I guess we really didn't think of
mean it's
uh,
menuing,
unlocking
right?
unlocking the yeah. First of all, we didn't know that you could bomb the,
Yeah,
the wall
yeah,
there.
the A3
Um,
North Wall. Yeah.
mhm. We
Yeah, the
learned that thanks to GameFAQs.
mhm.
There was a GameFAQs uh, page, well, a couple guides for every level, dropped in 2018, or 2019 or something like that. And I was just not aware of them. They had a lot of good info.
Yeah. We certainly, I mean, coming into this run with the board boosters, right? It already seemed incredibly optimized, so I'm happy we're finding like anything at all.
Mm-hmm. Some
um
good stuff.
yeah, let's run this through again. We can kind of talk about what differences there might be. I think notably is that this first guy you save, we actually saved second because we actually
Yeah,
go to the computer room first, right?
that's right. Yeah, we go down and then right instead of going up here because the door that we go through is we just saw it, we just passed it.
Yeah.
It's at the top of this room.
Yeah, you do these two
Um,
in reverse order, basically. This room over
mhm,
here. We can get a pause here. There's this computer in the top right of the screen that if you walk into it, it unlocks doors with the little red circles, right?
mhm.
And that's important for getting. It completely bypasses the second trip up the catwalk, right? Because you can just run
Basically, yeah,
past it.
exactly. So you don't need to go back through
Yep.
this room. It's a big detour. It's a really
Yeah.
big detour to
Yeah. You would go up
deal
through
with
that
two
door that
staircases.
I missed. 1 second. Let's get a pause. This door here is just naturally open on its own, so you would go through there, and then there's another door that's red that you can go through because you hit the computer terminal.
Mhm.
Are we gonna see that in your best ending percent?
Yes.
Okay, well, I do plan to pull that up, so we will get a little bit of that. But there's the door right there that you see.
Yep.
Um,
So it's a nice shortcut.
yep.
Very nice shortcut.
We
And then
barely
yeah,
saw
yeah.
it. This gap in this wall, right? This is a door that's busted,
hmm
and you can use plastic explosives. Dude, the friggin' sun is on my forehead. Like, you guys are gonna watch the sunset as I'm streaming. Like, it's hilarious.
Perfect.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that you would normally skip which guy? It was the guy over the falling bridge, right?
Yeah, the
Um,
guy in the middle we wouldn't get, and the guy that we get after, um, the second catwalk
mhm.
person that we saved, we would save him before the guy that's under him.
Yeah, we would skip this guy entirely by the route, and in conjunction also skip this entire catwalk sequence, and then we would save the dude over the second pit, and this dude on the ground, bomb the wall, and save the dude in there. Which again, I'll show that best ending run.
Yeah,
Uh,
we'll see it.
are there any strats in this that you want to talk about that were like discovered by anyone along the way? Any routing while we're
Um, Other than the stair jumping, which was found like very early on, no, there's not really any significant changes of the routing or anything. It's obviously, like we said, David TKI.
if you run into those
Uh,
barrels, you explode. It's funny. I've done
yes,
that. Uh,
yeah, David TKI was brought the most notable change to this. Definitely this past week.
if you're trying to hide info in 2018, GameFAQs seems like a decent choice. Level up, do the level up pose. And yeah, those are the first two levels, right?
Yeah, so now we enter the second set of levels. There are three levels that you
Mm-hmm.
could basically pick whichever one you want to do first. If you're into optimizing the level selection, then you would probably start with Dino Park. It is also probably a better choice to do a different level before Miglone. I choose to do Miglone first, maybe because
Oh, sorry.
um, no real reason here either. Like maybe I find it a bit more difficult, even though Dino Park and Whitney are also kind of scary.
Yeah.
But Miglone, you can just like make a small mistake and you can't finish the level suddenly, or at least not finish it in a decent amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's probably the reason I do Miglone first.
Yeah. McGlone notably does not have any fire compared to the others. It and Paris Mine are the only exceptions of that, where it's a gas, actually.
Yeah,
Um,
you don't have the extinguisher because you don't need it. There's no fire in here.
yep. You want to discuss how like O2 works at all?
Yeah. So walking is really safe. Walking in caves, you can do a lot of stuff. But if you start running, then it gets pretty tight
Yep.
because the way it works is um, you lose O2 um, depending on what actions you're doing, and running it depletes your
Yeah.
O2 seven times faster than
Yeah.
walking.
And the
That's
O2 in the top right there, the yellow container with the mask.
mhm.
As you can see, every step you take, all of your O2 is leaving your body. You
Yeah.
know.
And thankfully, there is a firefighter's position in the middle of the map that refills
Yeah.
your O2.
Is it
So
possible for that firefighter to die if you do McGlone last?
actually, that's a good question.
You
No, it would.
never knew that.
Well, yeah, there is a chance because it's after the fourth level that I think they do disappear.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah, we'd have to check. I don't know which we could probably look it up on GameFAQs because it says which
Yeah.
firefighter is which. So
Yeah. I never paid attention to which firefighter that was, but yeah, it's something to keep in mind. Was there anything else we wanted to discuss
Um,
with the Miglone?
yeah.
Like new routing, potential, my
Um,
my
there's
questions.
there's there's a couple walls that you could break with an axe. So it's unfortunate that menuing between the items loses time because getting into the menu item, the menu screen, there's a fade out and fade back in and everything. So it's pretty slow to change between your sub weapons.
Hmm.
But it's that last wall that we blasted through could have been uh, opened up with an axe, and that would have been a little bit faster. Um, but
Alas,
yeah, it's there's a lot of cases in levels where it would feel faster to use a different item, but the fact you have to menu to them makes it slower in the end.
yeah, because timing is with real time rather than in-game time. It
That's right.
becomes slower. I believe the timer does stop if you're in your menu, right? So in-game time
Yep.
ends up being a bit of a lie, but
Yeah. So here you saw us pick up the watch and
yes,
uh, just ditch it real quick. So the point is that at the end during this screen right here,
yeah.
if you do have an item in your inventory in your possession, then a person comes out of the crowd really slowly, walks up to you, and claims the item, gives you a certain point bonus.
Hmm.
So that whole like cinematic, the little cutscene there is a little slower.
Yes, yes.
To avoid that, we just ditch the item, even though you do spend some time, a little bit more time in the inventory screen, in the menu screen. It ends up being a lot faster doing that.
Level up.
Um, I wish I remember who thought of that because I did not know you could ditch items. I didn't know there was a second screen.
I also didn't know that until recently.
I the funniest part is like there are three items, and you select a level, and you have the briefing part, and then you choose your items at the beginning of every level.
Hmm.
There's a second screen in the inventory that I just ignored. I didn't know it was there.
Yeah,
For a very very long time, somebody came up and said, "Yeah, you could
yeah.
ditch the items
There's
in a trash can."
there's a little toggle second screen of the thing. Yeah,
Mhm.
I believe you're the one who told me that there is a second set there that I just
It,
did not know about. I'm like,
it's a bit
oh,
hard to notice.
yeah, it's
Can't
good.
blame you for not having seen it because I didn't see it for like weeks. But I don't remember. I'm sorry, I don't remember the lore here on who was the person who found it. So here's Dino Park. Dino
Hmm.
Park is probably the longest level that with Whitney, both like the next level.
Yes,
Um,
it is very much a maze.
yeah. I'll start with saying that we did not use the O2 bombs here before. This I'll credit uh, Dara or Dara CH, his full name. Is a Japanese runner who picked the game up when they released this game on the Nintendo Switch Online. By the way, the game is on Nintendo Switch Online if you
It
want to
is.
cop it that way. So when the game released on that console, a bunch of Japanese runners picked it up and raced it for this event that's, somewhat similar to what board boosters do. They just kind of pick uh, s- games semi-randomly, and most of the time they're pretty obscure games, and they just do races of them. So
Nice.
yeah, um, they contributed a couple things. One of them being uh, choosing to pick up the O2 bombs in this level. So what we just did right here, I'll talk about it real quick, is the peg puzzle.
Yeah.
We need to hit all eight of the switches. Eight, I said eight, but there might be nine. I'm not
I
sure
I
anymore. I
think
think
it's 9.
it's nine. Okay. Um,
Let's count, chat. How many? How
yeah.
many?
Thanks for rewinding it because I actually do want to talk about this. This is probably the thing in the run that has gone through the most revisions. I'm not gonna lie. every person who picked the game up at the beginning came up with a different solve for this. And they were all pretty original and different from each other. It was kind of impressive how many different ways we could do this, and it would all be pretty close in time. But this is what I guess is the final version of it. We haven't found anything faster than that, and this is thanks to Dara, the Japanese runner we were talking about earlier, who the
Here
the
we go.
main reason he thought CO2 bombs were good was because he found this, just like making this a little bit faster. Um,
Yeah,
and then
definitely.
he figured like you could find some use for O2 bombs in different spots in the level to make it worth the menu in the end, because it's not that much faster to like be faster than doing the menu at the beginning of the level,
Hmm.
but then you add on a couple other spots where it's useful, where it's faster than it obviously is. So
That is quite a lot of history for what seems like a very simple puzzle.
yeah, yeah, it's it's deceptively it was deceptively difficult to like find really the fastest way through it, because there's so many factors. There's fire above switches and around switches, and lady you have to save. Um,
Yeah. The stamps at first blush look kind of like, why would you do that? It's kind of slow, but you do need it for this boat mini game,
yes,
right?
yeah. Also something we need to talk about because we just discovered there's a funny thing about um, when we when the board boosters started with this game, where a lot of people were falling
Yeah.
off the island in the second
There
part
was
of this
another
boat fight.
clip where someone backed away from this bar after it opened and couldn't get back in.
That was great.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think it happened to two people.
it's good. Yeah, I've drowned here. A few other people have drowned here.
Uh-huh. So we found out why people were falling off of the island, trying to walk or run into the boat on the second part. It's basically because uh, if you walk onto the boat the first time, I can't like give a very logical explanation of it, but if you walk onto the boat the first time,
It's like a subpixel thing where it's like not aligned
yeah,
properly.
yeah, that's how I'd probably describe it. And then suddenly there's a gap between the land and your boat, so you can fall into it. And if you run into the boat the first time, there is no gap. You can just easily
Just magically
use
gone.
the risk. Yeah, exactly. So I can't really explain it, but we found out the reason. Basically, you just have to run into the boat the first
Yeah,
time for some reason.
just run forehead. You'll be able to swim just fine.
So here, the last part of Dino Park, I guess I definitely encourage people to use CO2 bombs. Oh, yeah, CO2 bombs in here, um, or even maybe experiment with fire truck. I know people wanna get fire truck into their run somehow. We didn't really talk about the fire truck.
Yeah, this run doesn't
How do you
really
like the fire truck?
utilize it, right? Like, no one's really found a way to utilize it like a lot. Um, but you fire truck at the start of levels, you have a choice of which side of the building you want to place it on, and then during the mission, you can call it up to 3 times.
Mhm.
Um, and depending on the position of the fire truck, I believe it's like a screen clear of fire kind of thing, but it favors the side that of the building that the fire truck is placed on. Is how I
Exactly.
would describe it. Um,
That's how I understand it as well.
yeah,
But I haven't really experimented with it enough because it felt pretty slow,
mhm.
just to get it out, like to activate it.
Yeah, you have to
Um,
open your menu over to it, and then there's some dialogue and a cutscene. It's fairly slow, but is it slower than having to put out fires on the way back through Dino Park?
it's a
That's
very valid question. I'll be perfectly honest, as the person who has like tried to route this game back then, I just didn't really consider it. So I think it's worth investigating for sure.
new strategies. Chat, get on it. Write that down. This will be on the test. That's Dino Park. Very fun level.
Just to answer Mike here, yes, it was RTA Racing indeed. Those guys are awesome. They run they just showcase a lot of cool games, and
Nice.
they're a fun bunch. They definitely came up with some cool stuff. We'll talk about some of it. Actually, this is a good time because this is exactly the spot where it happens. We are going to get
Ooh, I jumped ahead a little bit.
yeah, we are going to get an event. No, I'm talking about before this level.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, okay. We are going to get an event with a firefighter on your crew. Unfortunately, we'll have to. Uh, well, they're dying
Yeah, they're
basically.
they're going to the farm upstate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Level up, by the way.
Uh, um.
Yeah.
So right here, we learned the news. We're not going to see it because I skipped through the text in the speed run, but you learn that one of your crewmates is not going to be with you for the rest of the adventure. And there are four crewmates on
Yes.
your team. Um,
Shall we go through
I
them?
guess there's like, yeah, sure.
What can you tell me about Betty?
Betty's precious, but she can't be saved. She just can't.
Yes.
She has a mind of her own, and it seems to be attracted to fire
She
and
does
not putting
like
it
to
out.
walk into fire a lot.
Mhm.
And she does stand
Um,
underneath the in the Bradshaw mill. She like stands underneath that falling bridge. Like, what are you doing, Betty? Like, what? The one we care about is Nikos and who else? Jeff, was it?
Chris, there
Chris.
are two firefighters that will affect your run if they die. That's two out of four, but it's mainly Nico's. And any percent, the thing is, Chris doesn't really affect any percent unless you have a really sloppy Paris mine and you have
Mm-hmm.
to like backtrack to, I don't know. There's no real reason why you would need Chris in Paris mine, I think. So he's honestly very much expendable. Whereas Nikos, um,
This is crucial. He's
yeah,
very important.
Nikos will definitely make you lose, a solid 15 to 20 seconds at least in Paris mine.
Mm-hmm. We
Just
can
because,
we can point out where exactly he is on these levels and be like,
yeah.
this is why it would lose you time.
So yeah, the reason we're talking about this is because uh, we didn't really know how it worked, like which firefighter was dying, for what reason. It seemed random, and it is sort of. um, there is one of the players that picked up the game for RTA Racing called Asnel, um, and he found out that you can manipulate which firefighter dies here. It's
Ooh.
it's it's fairly easy. I haven't actually labbed it out much. I sorry, that's shame on me.
How
But
dare you?
yeah, I was gonna do it
Dishonor.
live actually, just so I could say that I did. But it's if you want to rewind just a little bit so that we can see it on the score screen. It's during the score screen, right at the end when you do that final input and the fade out starts.
Oh
Depending
my god,
on
stop
which
jumping ahead, video game.
yeah, that video player is pretty wonky.
Oh my
Um,
god, stop. Oh my god, stop. Okay. We're fine. We're fine.
speedrun.com for you. Um, the yeah, the flashes that you see at the bottom of your screen. Um,
These little sparkles.
yeah, these are perfect cues to be able to time your last press, and depending on when you time it, then it's a different firefighter that dies. So you saw there was three flashes, and there was like I guess a brief pause between like the three flashes, not between
One,
all of them, but
two, three.
and
Oh, and of
pause.
course, the moment I pause and then play again, it goes back here. Um, so it's
So
it's the trolley problem, but you get to choose which firefighter dies, kind of.
exactly, yeah. So you just have to avoid Nico's dying, basically. So
Yes.
there's a I guess if you're not trying to manipulate it
There
in that
is
event, then that's
a dialogue, right, that he'll show up and be like, "Oh, that sucks for whoever died." But if you don't see him do that, then he's the one who died.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So you got to pay attention to the text boxes if you're just mashing, and yeah, it's a 25% chance if you want to see it that way that your run is just going to lose time,
I think chat would
lose a
be happier
significant
with a
amount.
28% chance from
28, we'll say 28
yeah, we'll
then.
say 28. It's a bit of a meme. It's a bit of my meme. Yeah, so if you don't want to manip, there's a reasonable chance you don't get Nikos. If you do manip, good on you. You don't get Nikos. I did get Nikos the other day, and I was very sad. Um,
Mm,
because I wasn't
hap-
prepared for it, I lost about 2 minutes. But like you said, if you're prepared for it and have contingencies, maybe loses you what, like 15 seconds here or there.
it's a painful 15 seconds.
Yeah, it's very very hurts. Um, yeah, Whitney now. This one
Yes, Whitney,
is hard. This one
there's
gave
a
me a lot
lot
of
of
trouble.
yeah, there's a lot of dashing, a lot of like repositioning, and it's a little bit
Now,
tighter
I
in some
actually had a
spots.
question about this routing here. There's a scientist in this room, right? But there's also a scientist in the room to the left of here that you can't get yet. Is it
Yeah,
faster to grab this guy now, or would it be basically a wash if you grabbed him on your way out? Because you have to
you're
stop off for
probably
this other guy.
you're probably right that you could skip them for now, and it wouldn't really make a difference.
Yeah, I was just curious. I'm just like, yeah, I mean, they're right next to each other. I mean, this guy isn't really in, doesn't really seem like he's in danger of burning himself to death. So I'm like, yeah,
It's yeah, maybe it's better to wait on this guy and pick him up later if it could avoid the fire from spreading a bit more in the further part of like for these next two or this yeah, I guess
yeah,
for all the rest of the level. Maybe you could
getting
avoid
here at a
there being
better fire spread cycle,
yeah, maybe it's worth it in that case. So
maybe,
yeah, I haven't
maybe.
really experimented with that, so.
Get on it, chat. Write that down.
Mhm.
Uh,
So here, I take a pretty bad hit. I guess I was trying to dash, um, the dash to under those flames, but I could have jumped over them also if I had realized that there were only three. I was probably on autopilot
Want
at
to
that
talk
moment.
about what you're doing as you're going through these doors? Like, what are you doing here? What is this? This isn't something I
Oh,
knew until you told me.
yeah, that's a good point. We could have mentioned that
You probably could have
much
mentioned this
earlier.
earlier, but
So,
we've been talking about
yeah,
other stuff.
this is very basic like controls. We haven't talked about the R button at all. The R button is very good in this game. It serves many purposes. The
Yes.
first one that we're seeing here is that it allows you to see through doors because if you're not in the room, um, you don't see the flames in like the next rooms.
Yeah.
By
Normally you see this,
pressing
right? Just
exactly.
blank.
So by pressing the R button, you just suddenly see all the fire that's coming up in the next room. So that allows you to just prevent running into fire that's waiting for you right after the door. And it does happen pretty often. Like right here, if you're not careful, especially since we haven't talked about that either, but the doors do have a significant amount of like
Lag
lag and
time. Yeah.
eats your
It's
inputs. Doesn't necessarily eat your inputs, but it makes the timing a lot harder because of the big uh,
oof.
delay. Let's talk about this right
Yeah.
here.
Let's talk about this right here.
um, one thing I do want to stress, even though you saw how I failed the first time, the reason I failed is just because I was too far to the right. You need to
Yes.
be somewhat centered. So I'm trying to activate the turbine. The turbine powers up the whole factory, so you need all the power to be able to open all the doors, right, or something.
Yeah.
I don't.
Something. Restore auxiliary power to the
Yeah.
something. Yeah. This
So
basically you have
you see,
iframes after um well, it's not necessarily that you have iframes, it's just that if you're holding up and touch the turbine, it just kind of activates it, right?
yeah. But one thing I do want to stress here is that Zarek knows that I like to mention this a lot.
Don't
Don't
run.
don't run and jump into the turbine. Um, if you walk and jump, you are guaranteed to activate it. If you run and jump, it's a 50% chance that you just don't, and you'll take
Is it
hit.
a similar situation to drowning in Dino Park?
Mm,
Similar sort
uh,
of pixelying, sort of how the game calculates position. Is it
well,
similar?
I I sort of understand this uh, instance in on the turbine here, and I don't understand really the one in Dino Park.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
you could say they're somewhat similar, but I think it's a bit more straightforward here.
Okay. Don't run in fires. Do run by waters.
Hmm.
These are the things
Yeah.
we've learned.
Hmm. Don't run. Don't go into that room
Yeah, don't
unless
go into the
unless
blue
you're
door
doing
room
ascending.
unless you
Yeah.
want to suffer.
So yeah, Whitney Park is a pretty technical level.
There's a lot of running, a lot of jumping, a lot of tight turns and cornerage,
Mhm.
and then there's also the causeway and the jump on the stairs. It's kind of like a trial run of everything that you would have learned in the previous four. Like kind of those, like if these are like the baby levels, like Whitney is like the final showcase of it. is my
Pretty.
this is my estimation of it. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I find it's one of the harder levels for sure. And I guess that's also a level that a lot of people have been theorizing. CO2 bombs can be pretty decent, can be worth it. I encourage people to try it. I think there's a couple of rooms where, like, depending on what fire spread pattern you get, sometimes it's really slow to put all the fire out. Like the last rescue that I did here, I had to put out like five or maybe even six patches of fire. Having one CO2 bomb there would have made it so much
Yeah,
faster.
CO2 bomb would have made that a lot nicer
Yeah,
for you.
for sure. So I encourage people to try it out.
And if you,
I think it really comes down to like what fire spread pattern. And sometimes there's only two flames there.
mhm,
That's what I'm kind of gambling on.
yeah. Bringing CO2 bombs would also make getting that scientist and the scientist from this room at the same time a little bit more consistent if you get them both at the end of the level. So
Hmm.
that would be just chat. Or
Yeah.
boosters, get on it. Trying to start doing routes. Let's crack this game wide open. Of course, it jumped forward and we're in Paris Mine now. Um, anything we want to say about Paris Mine? This is like the first instance where
Yeah.
getting Nikos is like really bad.
Yeah. Shout outs to Zerfall. We have two people who run this game whose names start with ZER. That's a fun fact. I hadn't noticed until now.
Zer.
Yeah, Zerfall is player who came around, I think I want to say 2020, or maybe a little earlier than that. And he came up with a very revolutionary strat at the time of picking the axe instead of the plastic explosives to open up these walls because
Imagine
we
just
didn't know.
axing through a wall, like a solid wall.
So we used to use the plastic explosives, and it was slower and harder because you need to like
Yes.
time your dash after like behind the bomb blast. And it's trickier.
Mm-hmm.
Getting just the axe is
Yeah.
so much easier and faster. And here's Nikos.
Yeah. Yeah. This guy right here refills your O2, and this is Nikos. And you only have 702 left if you're moving really, really good through this section.
Imagine him not being there. Now you would
Yeah.
have to go back, like backtrack to another firefighter who's like way before this
Yeah,
cave.
this guy,
Get your O2 back. Yeah.
the guy up here who does it. There he is. There he is.
So you axe the two walls here, go back to talk to him, he refills you. Then you go around um
Yeah.
to the other part of the cave.
Interesting, this routing is that this guy takes O2 from you, right? If you rescue him right away.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
And
something we didn't really talk about in McGlone, but some of these people you rescue will steal your O2 bar.
mhm.
That's one of them.
Yeah, and we delay him because We can't afford them right now.
The hitbox on this wall always makes me giggle.
Yep.
It's what happened. Just
It's
extend
fortunate.
that hitbox.
It's fortunate that you can hit it from so high because if you try to speak to the firefighter and then hit the wall, what can happen sometimes is if you lean up against the wall, there's like this whole animation that
Mm,
slows down a lot your actions. And what happens most of the time if that happens is you will end up speaking to the firefighter a second time, and then it's
get
pretty slow.
stun locked.
Exactly,
Good grief.
exactly.
Yeah, the hitbox on that wall though was just really amusing to me.
Mhm.
And a pit warp.
Exactly. It's
I like how
the
you kick him at the end while you're waiting for the text to happen. Uh, good,
um,
good one, good one.
yeah, Paris Mine didn't feel too difficult to optimize when it comes to the routing. It was really just the axe trick that
Hmm.
um that sped it up a lot.
Yeah, imagine planting plastic explosives the entire way through would have just been miserable.
Yes, it was. It was. Um, Gemini is a very fun level, I find, especially like I really like this first room, how we navigate it. It's really tight.
Yeah, little bunny
I
hops here and there, and
it was it feels like there's so much fire, but when you do it the way I did right there, it doesn't feel very slow at all, despite there being that much fire
yes,
there. So, one thing, yeah, I guess I should point out if you don't mind rewinding back to it,
yeah, certainly.
um, there's something I want to point out where like right at the beginning, if you put out the top of a flame, only the top, um, it takes what I want to say is that it takes twice as long to put out a flame if you're spraying the bottom of it. Um, so that's why I'm moving up to the top row as fast as possible. It was the clearest path, but it's also faster because if you're only spraying the top part of a flame, you're only extinguishing half of it, and it's it's twice as fast basically.
Yeah, you don't care about the other half. We just want to get rid
Yeah,
of the one that we care about.
yeah.
Yeah, spraying it
So
from the bottom takes longer because it starts going out from the top, right? Like, so if
mhm,
you spray from the bottom, it puts out the top first and then the bottom.
yeah. So that's something I probably could have mentioned earlier because it went into a lot of like the decision making and how I routed certain rooms. Just like going to the top is typically faster than going to the bottom for that reason. Um,
Yeah, shoot for the
but yeah,
top.
yeah, usually that's a good rule of thumb.
uh, I love that these dudes are just like cowering in a corner. I'm like, dude, your face is basically in the fire. What are you doing? And this guy's
NPC
cowering in a
behavior.
room that doesn't even have fire in it. Like, pathetic. Do you want to talk about sort of the layout of the Gemini towers here? That are sort of
Yeah,
divided.
the rescues are pretty like well spaced out, if you will. And it's how do I say it? I guess there's a lot of different options. Not a lot because you have to basically rescue everyone except one person.
Yeah,
So
there's 10 people. You need to rescue 9.
mhm. um, but I think because of the way the
Ooh,
fire
that
spreads
is
in the
a
middle
good
of the
question.
bridge.
I have a good
Oh,
question in chat. Why are you tapping R as you go through the doors? You never noticed it before. We talked about how R lets you see what's indoors, like what's behind them. But do you want to talk about why you would tap R otherwise?
um,
Welcome in, Raiders. Junkyard Dave, hello.
hey, what's up, Dave? Um, th- the R button, other than seeing through doors, which is if you see me tapping it, it's usually because just trying to make sure I'm not going to run into fire. Um, but it's also useful to strafe. It so if you hold R and then you press the direction, you'll just keep your orientation. So I just did it right there. You see me tapping left to yeah, move towards the flame, but then I was a little too high. If I had moved to the left, I would have spoken to the firefighter, went into a menu, lost a lot of time. So I repositioned myself. I held R and then I tapped down just a little bit just to move out of the way. So that's one of the uses of the R button. It's used to strafe. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's also useful to prevent you from going into a dash. And I was talking earlier about how dashes are uh, they can be hard to manage if you're just learning the game because of like it's easy to trigger them. So
Yes.
to prevent accidents of just like running into fire when you're just trying to put it out, you can just be holding the R button. It makes it a lot safer. Um,
Yes.
so yeah, I
It's very
definitely
useful.
recommend. Yeah, I definitely recommend trying to work that button into your gameplay.
Yes, I wanted to address the Raiders real quick just before I forget. Welcome in,
Yeah,
Raiders. Welcome to the Board Boosters channel. I am Latalis. I'm joined with TM here. I guess this side. I don't know. Discord's weird. We're discussing the ignition factor, which is our boost game for December. If you or a loved one is a speedrunner, you should join the Discord, or else we will hunt you down and light a fire in something, something, something. I'm not threatening arson, I promise. Yeah, we're a very wholesome speedrunning community. Even if yes, even if you're not a speedrunner, join the Discord. We like vibing out. Yeah, thank you for the information on the R button. You want to talk about what the L button does? We haven't talked about the L button at all.
yeah. The L button is the R button's little brother.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Little bro
it's
thinks he's on the team.
Yeah, to be honest, there's one level where I find there's use for the L button. It's in Dino Park when you kind of feel like you're a bit cornered, like in certain spots, certain tight like turns and corridors and stuff. I like to use the L button. What it does is it
It pivots
keeps
you
you
in
in.
place.
Yeah, exactly. It's a pivot button, I guess. So it's the super safe version of the R button where you just don't move at all. So it's really good to just make sure you're spraying in the right direction and uh
Yeah.
not walking into it.
Imagine walking into fire. Couldn't be me. Never happens. I promise. It's never happened to me. So yeah, we just watched the Gemini Tower footage while we were looking over that. You want to talk about this guy?
Uh-huh. Uh,
Telescope man.
unfortunately, I haven't seen too many board boosters being fooled by him.
I was fooled a few times. He'll punch
Um,
you though. He'll
it's hilarious because yeah, there's 10 people that you can save. There's 9 people that you need to save because I guess this guy can fool you and then you can't save him anymore. What happens is he tells you to look into the telescope. It's a
just look into the telescope, bro. Just
very harmless suggestion.
yeah. And he just like overhand bashes your head in. Like
Yeah. And he's actually the one who started the fire.
yeah. If you stop to read the lore, which I know really isn't our mo here, he's just like, I had to start the fire, man. And we're just like, we don't care. Just get in the bag.
So apparently I saved a lot of time in that Gemini. I'm gonna get another gold in this level for some reason, so it's a good example of how to do it. See how tight I turned that corner there.
Yes.
Perfect.
This is the other level where getting Nikos kind of sucks.
Yeah. So Nikos in this level counts as a rescue.
Yes.
He struggles. He struggles trying to put the fire out in this room right here,
Yeah, there he is.
and we have to save him. So if he's not there, obviously there's one less rescue on our way. So we need to go to the roof of this level, and there's more people to rescue there. But it's faster if you don't have to.
Yes.
Um,
Nikos being faster. Nikos from video games, everyone. Can we hear it for Nikos? So get a
Yeah, so we
easy
haven't we
wrist
haven't
here.
really talked about. Maybe we should keep that for the rest of the end of the run, the
Hmm.
tie-in with the video game magazine. um, so yeah, one thing I could point out, I guess, is like you see how I just dashed under the flames in the
Let's
room
see.
above. There's like a tile that often you can't see. Um, like your sprite can kind of go like into the wall that you can see.
Yeah, it's
You
the
can't see his shadow anymore. So yeah, you're missing. There's a tile of vision that you can't see. So so there's a gap there, and
yeah.
it
You
happens a couple times.
you tap the R button right before you go in to confirm that that space is empty of flame.
It always is. I checked like this part here that I'm putting out, but here it's always clear.
Nice.
I've never really seen any fire there, but it obviously depends on how much time you spend in the level.
Yeah,
There could be a spread though, but even when I've spent more time or like the runners that I've seen pick up the game, I feel like there was always a space there.
nice. ZC asked a really good question here. Is it faster to tap the Y button with the extinguisher rather than hold it? Um, Apparently, you've done that a few times
Oh,
during the run.
um, you just need to. No, it's not faster to tap the button. I mean you really have to just hold it for the minimum amount possible, right? So you can get right back into a dash as soon as you can. So it's like don't
Minimizing spray.
overshoot. Yeah, yeah, you could call it that. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
trying to not over spray stuff.
Sounds a bit
But
like having pretty good muscle memory, knowing how much you need to hold it at any given time. Being
yeah,
like, yeah. I'm not sure if you walk
um,
faster during tapping versus holding. Walking while holding is slower. Interesting. Someone could do some science on that.
oh
I do love me some science. Everybody knows that.
yeah. To be honest, that that shit might be a good thing to look into. Yeah, I can't say I noticed if it's slower.
All right,
It
chat.
probably is.
We've given you like 8 different things to research. We're talking
Yeah,
frames here. Just do it.
uh,
Throughout an entire run, little frames here and there could end up, fire
yeah, for
cap.
sure.
What a stupid idea. Uh, so that is the world record for beat the game percents.
Mhm.
Whopping 0.28% slower. Yeah, whopping 2.28. All right. Do we want to discuss anything else about this beat the game percent? Any sort of things we've discovered throughout the way, and then we can talk a little bit about the best ending percent.
Well, I guess we could talk about. We haven't talked about the McGlone improvement, which I guess we're still not sure if it's an improvement, but it's very interesting.
Yeah, there's
Um,
a
but
reroute that we're considering.
yeah, and Latalis is actually responsible for pitching the idea, so thanks, Latalis.
I was like, is this faster? I'm not good enough to know if this is faster.
It was a really interesting routing difference, and when I went in and tried to time it, it felt like it was probably tied, but maybe a little faster. We're not sure yet. We're still looking into it. So it's an interesting route. It's a lot tighter though. It is
Yes.
a
So
lot
this is
more
the
difficult.
same. This is the same. Blow
Yeah.
through these walls. Um, then you
You know what?
blow that open,
Um,
and
I just pulled
then
it up on Discord. Is
oh,
there any chance you could like stream that instead, just to show people? Because
I
it's
can
not
do
there's no
that.
example of it anywhere except
I
on our little Discord, which anyone can join, by the way. You wanna if you wanna
yeah, if
see
you
all the
wanna do the thing.
yeah, see the
Let's see. Is it
history of
in clips and videos?
um It should be in learning and strats.
Learning and strats.
Um, Actually, I didn't pull it up recently. I'm sorry. It was
How
a different.
dare you?
Um,
I'm.
I It's right
Hmm.
here.
Hi. Okay. Let me switch what is being captured. Change window to this. Good.
Sweet.
I like the music you picked. A little loud.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, just
Um,
same sort of opener. Blow open some
yeah,
walls here.
but this guy, we open up the wall and then we do this thing that looks like a detour. It ends up being just the same.
Same kind of a wash. Very
Mhm.
tight execution for it.
But we do
Um,
a little less before we talk to the firefighters, so it becomes really tight from this point on.
yes. We never go over to the far right side. We never get the watch, so we never waste time ditching the watch.
Yeah,
But
that's kind of the whole point. Where the reroute allows you to skip going into that menu.
yeah,
It,
this guy steals O2 from you. We went from like 38 down to like 12, but you just
yes,
barely have enough.
it's pretty spooky
You
in
blow
here.
open this wall, grab her. Your HP is just barely enough to survive the pit warp, and you talk. It's
Yeah,
very tight.
I really like this route. It's just so hard. It's
Yes.
there's
I
actually
might try to learn
how
this myself.
how much HP did I start this level with? 'Cause I'm
I
not
believe you
sure.
started with 64. Is that
I
having completed a level already?
No, that's if I did it as a level 3. If I had done Dino Park before, um,
Yeah, Dino
then I
Park would
would
get
have
you
more HP.
to 72. I believe you get 8 HP per level, right? So if you do the order of levels differently, you end up with more HP because of level ups. Mhm.
Is there an echo in my voice on the stream? On the stream?
Is there? Shouldn't be. Oh, I minimized our call on accident. Whoops. There shouldn't be any echo that I can tell.
Right.
All right. Shall I pull up
Mm,
the best ending percent?
sure. If
Just to show people that we do have another category. Um, that there's actually still a bounty on it because even though you got it, you didn't want to claim it yourself, right?
I didn't feel it was fair for me to claim that bounty because I was already pretty much at the goal. People were still just barely learning the game back then, so I felt it was only right to pass it forward and even add on a little something to it. So the bounty was originally the creation of an emote. I don't know if it was a specifically themed emote, but I think it was for the Board Boosters Discord. So um, I was offered by Zarek, and if someone completes the best ending run of the game, I will also throw in a hand knitted beanie. So there's a little prize if you want to get in on this.
What a gamer! What a
The
gamer!
problem is best ending is not really only up to you as to whether or not you can access the bonus level. It really takes a good amount of luck. Um, it took me, I think, 14 attempts. Um, some of which were a bit sloppy, but just a general sense of like how many attempts it would take. I think it's probably a 1 out of 10 chance that you can access this bonus level if you execute the run correctly. So the factors are your time. How much, how fast you beat the level determines how many points you get in the time category.
Mm-hmm.
You also have points depending on how many people you rescue. Um, so in both cases, it's like every 30 seconds of time you get like 10 points. Every rescue you get 8 points. To access the bonus level, you need 5,000 points.
A lot of points.
It's a lot of
This is
points.
a lot of
But
points.
thankfully, there are events in every level that will score you a pretty large bonus, anywhere between like 150 and like 600. So some much more significant than others, but those events are all very important to be able to achieve that point bonus, that point
Mm-hmm.
total. Um, yeah, that's I guess the rundown of there is uh, also obviously the items
Yep.
that you will see us pick up this. Other than the additional rescues, the items are pretty much the only other thing. Oh, also like some of the events, but um, the items do make for a pretty big difference in the routing.
Yes, I believe like an item that isn't broken is like 100 points. If like they're ecstatic about it, oh, 100 points.
There's 5 different outcomes for the
Oh, is
item
there?
bonuses. Yeah, I mean there's two that are pretty similar. There's broken that is -5, because you can on top of it being hard to get 5,000 points, you can also get like a negative point bonus from the items. So
What
you need to
causes
be very
things to
lucky.
break? I've had stuff break before. I just never knew what caused it.
It's random.
That's
It's
so
really
stupid. That's so
random.
dumb.
So yeah, the the point bonuses will vary between -10, -5. Um, there's also, I guess, 0 that you could count. It's when it's broken, but they forgive you. um, and then there's +10, +100, and +300, which is extremely rare. And I don't think in my best ending run I get more than 2 of those, which is still like a very like low percentage. Just getting one of them is pretty rare. So if I get 2, and that's almost what's required to get the best
It's
ending
a bit
because it's
dicey.
so many points. So yeah,
Oof.
uh, yeah, little mistake there.
The
I
unlucky fire spread.
Yeah, I missed my dash. I was supposed to double tap right and then jump, but I missed the dash and then a flame just appeared under me.
Yeah, this is one
That's
of
the
the
fun
guys you
part.
skip in the beat the game percent because you have to cool down the water for him. Like, ugh.
Yeah, and I also had to get the first aid kit on the first floor before I get him. So thankfully, there's a pit not too far from him, and uh, breaking the glass scores you 5 extra points. So it's kind of convenient, and also brings you back close to the entrance.
Yeah,
So
the slow guy just walking in the scene. This is why you
this is
avoid
what,
items and beat the game
yeah,
percent.
exactly.
I don't think we quite have enough time to watch this entire thing, but I do want to watch the final level.
Yep,
I think chat gets the gist. You collect a lot of everything, basically.
yep,
I do want to talk about being overburdened real quick because if you pick up too much stuff, you actually can't run anymore. Um,
yeah. The best ending routing became interesting, like in the middle of the run, I guess, when there are more items that you can pick up in certain levels. Thinking in Paris Mine and in um, anyways, in other levels
in the
further
other
in the
levels, yeah.
run. Yeah, because you have a capacity, a limit for how many items you can pick. Um, but you do get item upgrades, like not item upgrades, but upgrades to your inventory where you can pick up an extra item. That made it interesting in like as to like which level you would want to do first.
Hmm.
Um,
I see here in your
there's
splits you do
also,
Dino Park before McLoan.
yeah, um, Dino Park only has 2 items that you can pick up. I think McGlone has 3. And also you need to equip for McGlone, you need to equip both the axe and the plastic explosives.
Oof.
So that's a lot of items that you need to be carrying. Yeah, because of that, it became faster to do it as a 4th level, I think.
Nice. You can become overburdened. Just keep that in mind. So I haven't actually seen this bonus level we're about to see, but
It's a fun one.
yeah. Keep in mind. I want you guys in chat to know, like, watch this run, because I would like to see more best ending runs end up on the board. I'm planning to run a couple myself, so watch this run in its entirety. Again, we don't have enough time to show it all, but do it. So this is the end of Shylock. We're about to
Yeah.
save 9 out of 6 people. Fractional math. And watch the slow guys go. Level up.
Level up. So yeah, unfortunately, we're not seeing the dialogue that happens before this level. It is the best in the game, probably. My favorite at least. And we are equipping the electrical, and that's a nice menu there. That's a very nice menu there. So I was that hyped. I was that excited of finally reaching a level. So yeah, electrical and the axe. The electrical is really just for. Sorry, the chemical extinguisher is
Yes.
really just for this lady here. Technically, also, yeah, this level is not really going to be a very good example of how to go fast through it. Um,
Yeah, I don't feel like many people have actually seen this level, right?
mhm.
You have to work real hard to get here.
So I unequipped the chemical extinguisher, but maybe there's a way to like make it faster by keeping it, because you'll see there's more fire here and there's a lot more in the next room. But I chose a different way to do this. Actually, no,
No, you
I
just got it right
in
back.
practice, yeah, in practice I did something different, but I guess I felt like doing that. Um, this level is probably one of the biggest like maps, but it's not.
Oof.
I guess it's not harder because there are less people to rescue, but they are really spread out.
There's a
And
frog man.
yeah, the fun part really, yeah, is coming up. Yeah, that mutant that we just saw, they're pretty hard to deal with. There's more here. If you mess up this room and you have to deal with them, sometimes it can get a little tricky. Um, but the real problem for a while, and maybe one of the reasons why we weren't too interested in cracking the code that is best ending for a long time, is the pink mutants that we are about to see in this next room.
Pink
Oh,
mutant hype.
shout outs to Flannel Cat. Flannel Cat uh, was one of the few runners back then who um, showcased this in a marathon, and they came up with the much better way to deal with this boss than we had thought of, which was basically just stand in this position here where he can't really hit you with the tongue,
Useful,
and
useful.
yeah, you can just swing away.
This guy's got a lot of health.
He does, and the axe does more damage than
Can
the
you knock him into
cable.
the chemical fire? Is that something you could do?
Huh.
Just a thought just occurred to me, like, what's all that chemical fire for if not to knock him into
you,
it?
you know what? Someone's got to get a tap.
I've got ideas. Chat, write that down. Making Chad do all of my work for me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Uh, just barely enough chemical fire extinguisher for this, yeah?
Right here there is a gap. There's a one tile gap under it where you can just go under and then do
Uh,
a dash and jump over it, but I was not aware.
I see. Those guys over there.
Yeah, that's a nice cameo from basically this level. This whole bonus level is from is like a scene from a different Jaleco game. It's called Peacekeepers,
That's really
and
funny.
that's just a scene from that game. So yeah, the enemies and everything, the mutants, you will find those if you play Peacekeepers. I do not recommend you to play
Do
Peacekeepers,
not recommend it.
but
Next on board
but it's a
boosters, we're
game.
playing Peacekeepers.
I hope not.
This level is very long in terms of like its scope, I guess.
It
Very
is.
large level.
Yeah.
You
Ooh.
almost got licked.
Yeah.
CO2 bombs?
No, I didn't have any ammo anymore. CO2 bombs is probably a good choice there, yeah. I think that was Nikos. So see you, Nikos.
See a Nikos from video games.
And I don't know why it said. By the way, if I'm going slow in this room, it's because there are holes, and they're not like the other holes that just bring you back to the beginning of the stage. I think they're just kill holes.
That's rude.
Hmm.
All right.
So
Very
yeah,
nice.
that's best ending.
It certainly was the best ending I've ever seen.
Unfortunately, no big difference in like
No new dialogue at the end game.
nah, it's the same ending technically.
Sag.
Yeah,
The ending music though is nice.
it
Let's
is.
say.
Yeah, we haven't really pointed it out unless maybe you did, but I wasn't paying attention. But yeah, the game does not really have any music outside of the briefing and the outro. Um, it's mostly just ambient noises,
It's
and I
just
think that's fine.
fire.
I think I heard a few people felt it was just a bit of a like a negative point of it. My take on it is that it's better to have no music than to have a music that you enjoy averagely and that you have to like listen over and over when you're resetting the first levels. That's
fair.
kind of my take. Like
Yeah.
silence is golden, right?
The fire noise is just kind of funny. It's just
Yeah,
that's all you get. And then when the
kinda-
chief interrupts you, it's just like a heavy metal riff or whatever.
Oh yeah, that part too. Yeah, I forget.
Yeah.
Um,
Chat, do you guys have any questions about this run so far? Anything that we didn't cover you would like to hear more about? Any
we
questions
definitely
for
went
me?
way over. We definitely went way over the estimate. We were supposed to
Yeah.
be 45 minutes.
I kind of was very into this discussion, so it was just kind of let it roll. It's fine. I'm sure nobody cared. Everybody was fine with this.
I certainly was happy with being able to go a bit more in depth because it's hard. Like I'm not very good at explaining stuff.
It is hard to be concise about a game that has this much going on, right?
Yep. There's a lot going on that like can't always notice. So
Yeah. I urge everybody in chat to go and watch that best ending run because I was unfortunately skipping the entirety of it. Like, there's the McLone reroute was in there.
yeah,
Didn't even look at that, even though I said we were going to. I'm sorry.
McLone is an interesting level in best ending for sure. Best ending is a fun category. I definitely thought it was really fun to do that little grind there.
Yeah. And
Looking
you're
forward to
the
doing
first
more.
one. You're the first and only run on that board, so we need to get more people going. Again, there is a bounty.
Yeah.
Get on
Good
it,
luck
boosters.
to everyone. Good luck to everyone who is going to attempt that. I know there's a few people who are planning on it.
Myself included.
Yeah.
No questions from chat, looks like. So I guess I'll just do some quick announcements. I mean, I've already mentioned it, but like there's still the bounty for the best ending. for board boosters, Knit Beanie from TM, plus your choice of an emote to add to the Discord. Speaking of the Discord, join it, or else I promise I won't threaten to arson you this time, but do it.
Can I just, I'm reading back like up in the chat because
Certainly.
haven't been very good at keeping an eye on it. I'm really sorry. Probably missed a couple things I could have mentioned, but I do want to give a shout out to Wiz Wario, Mike the viewer. Shout out to Mike the viewer. Asked about the record progression of the game. And that's an interesting thing to point out. I did have some competition for this game. Wiz Wario, runner out of Toronto, we kind of wanted to get together and do races for this in a marathon at some point. Never, unfortunately, got around to doing that. But yeah, he's sort of from the area, and he went in on this game. He was he got a really decent time, and I think might have gotten the record more than once. I know he at least got it once. The last run that he did, the 18:22, was at some point the record.
Nice.
So yeah, shout outs to Wiz Wario. And also, I guess I want to shout out the people who introduced me to the game. I used to do some like blind racing with some people also from my area. Shout outs to the QSR crew. They chose this game and they were like, yeah, this is pretty jank. My friend likes jank games. And I thought that behind the jank there was something pretty solid.
Yeah.
So we both, me and my friend Shokushu, started working on it. And I guess I was a bit more motivated than him, a bit more try hard. So but I do wanna give him some shout outs to that crew, Shokushu especially, for introducing me to the game and being there in the beginning with the routing, giving some good ideas, contributing
Shout
a
out
lot.
to the history of the game and the people who brought us here, right? Like, I wouldn't be running this game right now if it hadn't been suggested on board boosters. That's the thing. Can we do races on board boosters later this month? Maybe we can try.
Yes, David, thank you for that question.
we did do races for Oregon Trail in October, and that was a lot of fun. I did commentary for that. I wouldn't mind doing commentary for a race of this game, although it wouldn't be very good commentary, I'm sure.
I feel like outside of the Nikos dying event, which we now know that we can avoid, this game is actually like a really, really solid game for a speedrun race. It's, I mean, very, very much a skill-based run, and the randomness, like I said, outside of what we now know that we can manipulate, that was the main factor, main RNG factor before. Outside of that is very minimal. So I think races for this game are really fun.
Yes.
But we never really did them. So I'm looking forward to either participating or like commentating for them.
Yeah. Well, we can look into getting that set up in the Discord. We have like suggestion tabs and stuff. Shadow, I'm sorry that you saw the notification about Oregon Trail earlier today. That was me seeing if I could stream to the Board Boosters channel at all. It was supposed to be a test stream, but I couldn't change the title, so sorry. Thank you guys for being here to watch this. TM, thank you for joining me and giving us all of this insight that you have gathered throughout the years and are helping us develop further.
I appreciate you guys having me here, and I thank you, Zarek, for messaging me just before you guys started this whole thing, so I didn't miss anything. And yeah, it's been too much fun. Like, honestly, super happy. Yeah, I'm very, very into this. Maybe I hope I'm not annoying people by being too involved, because it's your thing. It's like, you know, I don't wanna take away from your like the whole process of learning and discovering new stuff.
Everyone is welcome to contribute everything they can if they want to. And we hope that you continue to participate in board boosters even after we move on from this game, you know? Like,
Oh, for sure.
everything is great. Oregon Trail game run today, so you probably do initiative stuff in the future. Lol. Alright, yeah, if there's no further questions, I guess we will wrap it up here. I don't really think I have anything else for announcements. Just join the Discord. We wanna get people in there, whether they're speedrunning or not. Best ending bounty. Those are the things that I have written down, so that's what I'm going with. Thank you guys. Let's go ahead and say. All right, we're not affiliate, so we can't raid. So keep that in mind. We're just gonna go to the end screen and call it there. Thank you guys for being here. Peace.
Yeah.